Welcome to Master Your Interview with Madeline, where today I'm going to help you develop an interview mindset for success. So first, a little bit about me. So I am a PhD student in industrial organizational psychology, which is basically the science of making the workplace better. And I research interviews. So I love helping to understand what makes interviews effective, what makes job applicants successful in interviews, and what does this process look like, especially in terms of the struggles that a lot of job candidates face. I'm also a certified HR professional and have experience as an interviewer and an interviewee. Right now, I'm a job interview coach, and my goal is to help you confidently ace your next interview. So that is my mission. My goal is to help early career professionals really overcome some of the psychological struggles that are very common for interviews, especially if you don't have a lot of work experience or maybe you're lacking specific skills and you're not really sure how to confidently convey that in an interview. So let's talk about some of your limiting beliefs around interviews and why this is hindering your ability to confidently step into that interview mindset for success. So the first one is you believe that certain people are naturally good at interviews. Is this something that deep down you think is true? Another limiting belief, you think that being confident in interviews means you have to be good at bragging about yourself. Oftentimes, the reason that interviews are such a struggle for many job candidates is that they're not comfortable promoting yourself. You're not comfortable talking about your skills and experience in a way that feels natural and authentic. You feel like in order to actually convey who you are, you need to be slimy and really promote yourself. And we're going to talk about how to overcome that mindset that's hindering your success. The third limiting belief is that you often question whether you deserve to be in this interview. And this is such a difficult one for so many people. Imposter syndrome is an inevitable part of pushing yourself outside your comfort zone, where you feel, oh, I don't belong here. Why am I here? Someone else is way more qualified for the job than me. I don't even know why they're asking me to be here. So when we look at each of these three beliefs about interviews, the reason they're called limiting beliefs is because they are hindering your ability to successfully present the best version of yourself and confidently convey who you are to the interviewer. So as a recap, number one, you believe that certain people are good at interviews and therefore certain people aren't. Two, you think that being confident in interviews means you have to be really good at bragging about yourself. And number three, you question whether you deserve to be here in the interview at all, and it was all a giant mistake. So let's challenge each of those beliefs and really understand what's going on. How do these beliefs affect how you show up in the world? And this is something that's really important to consider, is that your mindset for interviews is not necessarily that much different than your mindset for your relationships, for work, for friends. How we approach interviews and the dynamics involved there can apply to all different aspects of our life. And so when we look at these limiting beliefs, what beliefs or assumptions are actually bleeding into other areas of our life? And the question is, are these beliefs actually true? And if you think they're true, where's your proof? And this is a huge assumption that so many people fail to tackle. And it's that we have these assumptions about the way the world operates, but it's not rooted in actual facts or the truth. And when we tackle and look at the core of it, we realize, oh, we are creating a lot of assumptions based on false information. So let's challenge that first belief. Number one, you believe that certain people are naturally good at interviews. So what does it mean to be naturally good at something? It comes easy. It's not difficult. You're just kind of born with an ability to succeed in interviews. Is that true? Or are interviews something that with the right skills, experience, practice, and preparation, anyone can be good at? Now, it's fair to point out that it's possible that certain people might naturally find interviews slightly easier than others. So, say, for example, people who enjoy conversation. They're more extroverted. They enjoy chatting with people. Maybe they have a lot of experience and they're excited to share that with the interviewer. It's possible that those factors might make someone enjoy interviews more, maybe feel a little bit less nervous. However, I don't think it's a correct assumption to say that people are naturally good at interviews. And often what happens is when someone says like, oh, I'm really good at interviews, what they're basing this off of is their past experience with interviews and the success that has come from that, and maybe they found it more easy than they would have anticipated. And so this is key, because the idea that people are good or bad at something naturally, we need to tackle and pinpoint and realize, no, that's not the case. In the actual world, I genuinely believe that anyone can become very good at interviews, but you have to know what to work on, and you have to know what skills should I be practicing in order to feel like I've confidently aced this interview. Okay, so number 2, let's challenge the second belief. You think that being confident in interviews means you have to be good at bragging about yourself. This is such a tough one, because interviews, when we look at the entire process, yes, the candidate has to promote their skills and experience and convey to the interviewer why they're the best fit for the job. However, there's a difference between self-promoting about your skills and experience and just bragging about yourself. Because if you look at a candidate who is talking about themselves and they have this air about them that is maybe quite arrogant or cocky, or just someone who is talking, but they're not really answering the question, the interviewer is absolutely going to see right through that and pinpoint that, especially if they have a lot of experience with this. So it is not true that to be successful in interviews means you have to be good at bragging about yourself and that's it. There's a couple of pieces here. One, you have to be able to effectively convey your skills and experience in a way that resonates and aligns with what the interviewer is looking for in this position. That is different than bragging. Now, it's important to note that you have to also feel comfortable talking about your success. And I think this is where a lot of people struggle with. Oftentimes, it is frowned upon to self-promote. And especially in a world of like platforms and social media, it can be easy to look at someone who's self-promoting and being like, oh, they're just bragging. However, when we look at the interview as a whole, there are natural scripts that the interviewer is expecting from the candidate. And one of those interview scripts is that they're going to engage in self-promotion in order to be perceived as the best fit for the job. And it's the interviewer's role to determine who is actually the best fit for the job based on what the candidate has conveyed. Okay, so let's challenge belief number 3. You often question whether you deserve to be in this interview. Now, this is a tricky one, because if you've been offered an interview, you're in the actual scenario, and you're thinking, why am I even here? Why did they ask me to be here? I don't deserve this. That is a big problem, because what's happening is that is taking away from your ability to think about the question that's being asked, come up with a good answer that's going to accurately answer that question, and probably just overall like taking away from your ability to be in the present moment and to really focus on what's happening. And instead, you've got this background noise thinking, why am I here? They know I'm a fraud. They know that I'm not a good fit for this role. They know that the other candidate after me is going to be way better. And these are all doubts that you're placing on yourself. And that's actually self-inhibiting your ability to succeed. And we got to look at the situation here as a whole. The organization or the hiring manager or interviewer has asked you to complete or partake in this interview. By default, that means you have the potential to be a good fit for this role. Why is that the default? Because they've spent the time investing in getting to know you more. Now, they don't know if you're going to be the perfect fit for the role. That's why you need to go to the next step and the next step. However, it's fair to say that if you've been offered an interview, someone at the organization is willing to invest more time and money in getting to know you better to see if you're a good fit. Therefore, questioning whether you deserve to be there is not helpful because someone believes in you, hence why you've been asked to be part of the interview. Okay, so now I want to dive into some of my coaching clients and how I've helped them really learn to master their interview, to show up more confident, and to feel better talking about their skills and experience. And this is just a slight thing of what we've covered over the past 10 minutes or so, but imagine what it can be like if we work together in my coaching program to really help you master each of these pieces that are required for interview success. So Helen came to me. She was one of my earlier clients, and she really struggled with a post-COVID world of feeling comfortable in the social anxiety awkwardness of interviews. Everything is synchronous. You've got the virtual world of interviews, and all of it can feel really unnatural. And so we worked together to help her overcome that crutch of leaning on an interview script, but to also really be proud of her past work experience and her education to understand how to convey that in an interview that felt more natural. Sarah and I worked together to help her really solidify how to answer questions in a way that is targeted and tackles what the interviewer is asking and looking for, rather than sharing relevant stories, but not necessarily capturing the interviewer's interest. Donovan and I worked together to highlight his strengths. So using the personality test that I have as a tool, we talked about how to actually talk about his strengths and his weaknesses based on his personality results and how he shows up in the workplace. Here's another one from Jane, and Amy and I worked together to help her with her video interview, specifically her asynchronous video interview for her Casper exam. And this was really difficult for Amy because of the social kind of stress of not having an interviewer present with these one-way video interviews. So I want you to take a second to imagine that you're walking into your next interview feeling fully confident, just super ready to share your skills, share your experience, and talk about who you are. What does that feeling feel like? How are you feeling right now? You have the skills, the tools, the ability, the practice to show up in your next interview ready to put your best foot forward. The question is, are you ready to change your interview success story? I want you to remember that landing your dream job, quote unquote, dream job, is not for the chosen few. It's not for a certain group of people that have been selected as dream job landers. That ability is for everyone. And this tackles one of those limiting beliefs of, are people just naturally born at being good at interviews, or have they worked their butt off to prepare, to highlight their weaknesses, to know what they need to work on, to then move forward for interview success? I want you to know that there is no difference between the clients that I've highlighted and you, except that they have been able to achieve their goal of showing up confident in their interviews with the right support and strategies and guidance. And so my interview coaching program is a good fit for you If you have been struggling with interviews, specifically a lot of the mindset barriers, limiting beliefs surrounding your interviewing potential and capability for success, and you're tired of doing this on your own and waiting for the results that you're looking for. So my program is a good fit if you want to reduce that time barrier for your interview success and not wait years to land your dream job. So my name is Madeline, and I really encourage, if this resonated with you today, to book a complimentary interview consultation call where you and I will chat about what are your interview struggles. I'll get a sense of who you are, what you are struggling specifically with interviews, and see if my coaching program might be a good fit for you, and if this is something that I can help you work towards to achieve that confident interview success. Thank you so much, and I look forward to getting to know you more.